of the preaching mission of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the Yoga Pit, Mahaprabhu's birthplace. That was, Yoga Pit was identified as the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in 1893. Yoga Pit recognized. There are some Vaishnavas in Navadip town. Navadip town. Because Navadip town is maybe a couple of hundred years old, Navadip. And as we mentioned yesterday, that all this area had been covered by Ganga. And then 200 years ago again it opened, and they built town on that side of Ganga. And the local temples, the local priests, that they made a whole, like there's Janmastan, Yog Pit is there, Shribas Angan is there, all the places, the actual places here, they're all there also, but they're not the actual. But in the town, they put them there because this wasn't developed. This was identified in 1893 by Thakur Bhaktivinoda. You know the story, Thakur Bhaktivinoda? I think tomorrow we're going to his home and Samadhi Mandir. We'll talk more about his life, Thakur Bhaktivinoda. But he came, he was the district magistrate, and the texts were there, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Gauraganadesh Deepika. He was studying, he knew that Mayapur, he wanted to come here to research the actual birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He got the posting in Krishna Nagar, and then he had his house in Swarupganj. We'll visit tomorrow, and he looking across the river, he could see here. He saw one time the light coming from the Jog Pit. There was no interference, it's just fields, so he could see that far. So then he bought, to the Yoga Pit, he bought Jagannath Das Babaji. That's his, the great Vaishnava of Navadip at the time, Jagannath Das Babaji, who is Shikha Guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He brought him to Yoga Pit, and Jagannath Das Babaji, he was blind, he was 140 years old. And he was carried in a basket. Invalid. And when they brought him to the Jog Pit, he jumped up out of the basket. So they established a small temple. It was opened in 1896, actually in Yoga Pit, what is now the administration office. On the right-hand side of the temple, that was the original temple that Thakur Bhaktivinoda built and opened in 1906. So at that time, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, how old he would have been? He would have been in his teens. So that was the original temple, a small temple by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He went begging 1 rupee from everybody. And then that was there, that temple was there. And then, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, let's hear a little bit about his life. We'll come back to that temple, hear a little bit of his life. He was born in 1874. So when the Yoga Pit was identified, that was 1892, he was 18 years old when his father identified the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. And then the British government, you know, Thakur Bhaktivinoda he had service in the British government, district magistrate. And so he coordinated, and the government registered Mayapur, Sri Mayapur, and they put the post office there, Sri Mayapur post office, indicating that the British government, they confirmed that this is the ancient birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Gaudiya Shastras by establishing the post office there, Sri Mayapur post office. You still see, it's a little post office. And you can send letters from there, and things are received there. There's a man, he comes on his bike, he delivers letters for you that gets delivered to Mayapur post office. So Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, already from his childhood, he was a Mahapurush from the birth. Time of birth, he was Mahapurush. Extraordinary being, not an ordinary Vaishnava, Mahapurush, a great person who appeared just for spreading Krishna consciousness. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he conceived He conceived Siddhanta. He was desiring at the time of conceiving, he was praying, give me an anksha of your potency as my son, so I can carry on your mission. He was praying like that at the time of conceiving the child. And so such a powerful Vaishnava appeared in the womb of the wife of Thakur Bhaktivinoda. This is in Jagannath Puri. At that time, Thakur Bhaktivinoda was a magistrate in Puri. And he actually did amazing things. He upgraded the whole puja style in the temple in Jagannath Puri. He regulated it. They were upset. They were upset with Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was upgrading everything. So he had his home there, right on the Grand Road, just where Jagannath Road, where that comes. So when Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had been born, he's just a few months old, the first Rot, Onustan, is coming. And the chariot had stopped outside the house of Thakur Bhaktivinoda. He's the temple superintendent. So his wife, she came out with the new child. Well, actually, the rot, it was there. It stalled for 2 days. This is a rather extraordinary thing. Rot. And one day they get to Gundicha. For 2 days it wasn't moving. It was a big problem. At night, and then the next day the rot, so they're pushing, pulling, not moving, for 2 days. And then Thakur Bhaktivinoda's wife, I think her name was Bhagavati Devi. And Bimal Prasad is the name of Thakur, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur at birth, Bimal Prasad. So Bhagavati, she brought the young child, 2-3 months old. And being the wife of the temple superintendent, she was given direct access and she could climb the chariot. And with the child, she put the child at the lotus feet of Lord Jagannath. And then the garland fell from Lord Jagannath's neck, it fell and surrounded Bimal Prasad, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And in this way, everyone was astonished. Jagannath had indicated this special Mahapurush. And then the chariots moved. So it appeared that Lord Jagannath was simply waiting there to be able to bless his great devotee, Bimal Prasad. In this way, from his very early life, extraordinary pastimes, miracles are recorded. So in his young days, they were living in various places. They were living in Puri, living in Kolkata. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he was in service in the British government here and there. So he bought mangoes. I'm not sure where this happened, but he bought mangoes. And Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was 3 years old. And the mangoes Thakur Bhaktivinoda he bought, they're on the table. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took the mango, he started eating, and his father said, "Oh, that's not offered to Krishna yet." And Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, "Oh, I am an offender. I am an offender." He said, "From this day, now I make a vow, I will never again eat mango." At 3 years old, he made a vow. I'll never again eat mango. And he maintained that vow his whole life. He never maintained. And Prabhupada, the disciples, they would come with mangoes and he would say, "I am an offender. I cannot take mango." So he was going to school. This is in Kolkata. He was going to the school, but his Jnana Samudra, ocean of knowledge. In the class, he didn't need to sit and listen to these uninformed teachers in the school, in the primary school in Kolkata. So he was already studying his father's books. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, the name is Seventh Goswami. It goes like this. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he was you could say, ideology of Krishna consciousness movement. Ideology. He didn't have properties with temples, with institute, with presidents like we have. He's the ideology in the books of Thakur Bhaktivinoda. He wrote in several languages. He wrote in Bengali, he wrote in Sanskrit, he wrote in English. And more than 100 books. And that's not now desktop publishing. Anyone can write a book and publish nowadays. This is 100 books. And he had 11 children. I know the Grihastha devotees are 1 or 2 child. That's it, your whole life. It's just no time for anything else. Just getting the kids growing up. It takes all your energy. What to speak of, he had employment in usually such a person would neglect the family. But he had 11 children. And 2 of them became gurus. There's another brother of Sanatana Saraswati Thakur, a different line. It's a different. That's how powerful he was. Thakur Bhaktivinoda. 2 of his sons initiating disciples. And Thakur Bhaktivinoda, Sanatana Saraswati Thakur, of course, extraordinary, Gaudiya Math. So by the age of 12, he was already working with his father, editing the books. At 7 years, he was 7 years old. His father gave him a deity to worship, Kumra, Shalagram Shila. When he was 7, how old are you? How old are you? 10. At 7 years old, he was given a Shalagram Shila to worship, and he was worshipping that Shalagram Shila, Kurmadev. Kurmadev established his foundation. Kurmadev. That Shalagram Shila I heard just last week. I was in Kolkata at Ultadanga Junction, the first Gaudiya Math, where now ISKCON is developed, is renovated. Beautiful. You have to visit. And the devotees were telling me that there's one home of Thakur Bhaktivinoda's descendants, one of his homes in Kolkata. His descendants, they have that Kurmadev deity. They have that deity which is worshipped. Just in their home, they're just Brahmins, worshipping. He was given mantra by his father. He was given mantra at that time. He was already chanting. That's the Gayatri mantra, the Diksha mantra. Diksha mantra, Vaishnav Diksha mantras. I think Sachinandan Prabhu, he's going to receive in a couple of days from His Holiness Srila Jai Pataka Shami Maharaj, Vaishnav Diksha mantra. He's not here today, he has a whole big thing to prepare. And he's already powerful Vaishnav. But still for the Vaishnav Diksha, so much preparation. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was given Vaishnav at 7 years old by his father. And then later he was also initiated again by Gorkashodas Babaji Maharaj in Harinam and in Sannyas, so many. But his father gave him mantra also. His father gave him mantra, and he was chanting. And we can assume he maintained chanting that mantra for a whole life as part of his other mantras. So extraordinary, these are extraordinary things that ordinary people don't. This is extraordinary. Given a mantra and the child is chanting the mantra and worshipping. And he wasn't interested in the mundane studies. He was already reading his father's books, restudying the books of Narottam Thakur. They're all Sanskrit and Bengali literatures. The Gaudiya heritage, Baladev Vidyabhushan, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, their Sanskrit works, Narottam Thakur, Pratana, a Bengali, a Goswami Grantha. He's reading and studying those. Jiva Goswami's works. And he went to the Sanskrit college and he was given the title Saraswati Thakur, actually Siddhanta Saraswati, from a Sanskrit college in Kolkata, Siddhanta Saraswati. And he wrote the Surya Siddhanta. He made adjustments to the astrological style of Bengal. He was such an astrologer that he wrote books that they changed the whole astrological standards of Bengal, of the Smritis, and they awarded him the title Siddhanta Saraswati. That was before he even began the preaching. In terms of scholarship, how respected he was. So then he was studying in Kolkata in the Sanskrit college and they wanted to give him the dean of the Sanskrit college, and he was thinking that if I accept so many honorific positions in the academic world, then it will put pressure on me to enter household life. Because it's not for a renunciate to have such positions of social influence and academic influence. It's not for a renunciate. So therefore he gave up studies in the university. He left. And so what year was that? That would have been at age 24. Before taking the degrees, he left. and he was personally in the service of the king of Tripura as his personal astrologer, the king of Tripura, the personal astrologer, and the tutor of the prince, and in that way he was engaged in the royal palace of Tripura. He's a Vaishnava. In Manipur, Vaishnavas. What's the state? Tripura. What's the name of the state? You should know. Manipur? No. What's the name of the state of Tripura? Tripura is the state. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, the king of Tripura. That's the other side of Bangladesh. Tripura, Bengal, other side of Bangladesh. So the king, Vaishnava, and he was engaged, and that the king, he was satisfied with the service rendered by Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur that for whole life he maintained the salary, even though he gave that up after a few years when he began Gaudiya Math preaching. But the king still kept sending the salary every month. He was so much appreciative of the education that he gave the prince. Okay, so in 1901 he took initiation from Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So we visited his samadhi just beside Radha Kund, Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So he's a Babaji, which means that you see Babajis, you'll see now also in Navadip, Babajis, the dress is like a sannyasi. It's the cloth and around the neck and the lungi, and the same style of cloth with no border. And the Babajis are wearing white. Babaji means that they're beyond sannyasi. Babaji means they're Paramhamsa, that they've realized their eternal position in Brajadam and they're in that bhav. So the sannyasis are actually, they can discriminate. For preaching, sannyasi means a guru, taking disciples, giving their education. And in our case, and also in the case of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, sannyasi is an institutional role. In ISKCON, sannyasi is institutional. It means institutional leader. And the sannyasi is awarded by the institute. And one sannyasi guru is there, but not without approval of the institute. But in the broader Gaudiya sannyas, any sannyasi can give a man sannyas. But not in ISKCON. It's institutional. And actually, most of the Vaishnavas, before Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur established Gaudiya Math, most of the Vaishnavas, the advanced, the Paramhamsas were in the Babaji dress, not sannyas. And when Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took sannyas from the picture of Gokishore Das Babaji, there were no other Vaishnava sannyasis. Sometimes there's this organization, Ritvik people, I think you know them, Ritvik. They say you can become Prabhupada's disciple. But he's not present now, so it's not possible. And they say that, look, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took initiation from the picture of Gokishore Das sannyas. So they say you can take initiation from Prabhupada's picture. But there were no Vaishnava sannyasis. Why he took sannyas from Gokishore Das Babaji was that there were no Vaishnava sannyasis. There were none. He began the line of Vaishnava sannyas. There were no Vaishnava sannyasis. The thread, the Babajis are not wearing the thread. They're beyond Varnashram Dharma. They're not a Brahmin, they're not a sannyasi, they're the Nitya Krishna Das, Gopi Bharto, Padakamalayo Dash, Anudash. In the Vrindavan Rasik Bhav. No, not Brahmin thread. So Navadip was like that. Navadip was like Babajis. And Gokishore Das Babaji, he was a Babaji. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he also was in a Babaji. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you'll see his temple. He's in white, in Babaji. Jagannath Das Babaji, they're Babajis, not sannyasis. And when Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I believe that was in 1917, that he sat in front of here. He was doing bhajan here. These places here, Radha Kund, and the temple is here. Before the had temple here, he was doing bhajan here. Sanat Thakur, he did bhajan here for, from when he was, what year was that? He was 31, so it was 1905. 1905. That temple we said was established in 1906. From 1905, he was here in the jungle doing the 3 lakhs, 192 rounds every day for many, many years, and just eating what we eat in Damodar, the Niyam Sheba. No restricted only green papaya, green, was it? Banana. Yeah, kachakola and rice, boiled in rice. That's all he was eating for many years. For many years, and chanting. For many years, he completed a Satakoti Nam Brata to complete 300,000. There's a huge, like a million, there's some huge number of names. He completed the Brata. So then during that time when he was here, both Thakur Bhaktivinoda and Gokishore Das Babaji left the world while he was here doing his bhajan. And then he had a dream, here. And in the dream, Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the 6 Goswamis, Sri Rup, Sri Sanatan, Bhattaragana, Sri Jiva Gopal, Bhattadash, Raghunath, Shad Goswamigan, Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Sri Vashari, Gobhaktavinda. They all appeared in a dream. And they said, enough of this tapasya. Enough of this tapasya. And now you have to go and preach Krishna consciousness. And Siddhanta Thakur said, well, what can I do? I'm just one person. What can I do? And they said, we will send you men and money. Now you go and preach. So then he went to Kolkata. And he established the first Gaudiya Math. That's at a place called Ultadanga Junction. Now, so that was established in 1918. And then the preaching went on. And Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his movement, it gradually expanded. He preached all over India. There's centers of a Gaudiya Math in Madras, in, I think, Trivandrum, in South India, I think Bangalore, Kanyakumari. Yeah, Allahabad. Prabhupada was initiated, Allahabad. All over, and also Burma, and also England and Germany. And then he was there was that place, Ultadanga Road. That's 125 years ago. And then he left that place. He left that place in 1935. And then others took that place, that building. So then that building there for decades and decades and decades. It was there in Kolkata, that apartment people were living, 2-story apartment. The Gaudiya Math sannyasis in Kolkata, they were trying to get that in recent decades. Trying to get that building. It was still there, people were coming, going. And then ISKCON, Radharaman Prabhu, ISKCON Kolkata temple president, they began, actually, I think His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, when he became involved in Kolkata, he said, we have to get this place. We have to get this place. There's pictures of him there, I was seeing when it was just all broken down 10 years ago. And then Radharaman Prabhu, he's very expert, so that somehow or other, through various court cases, this and that, they were able to evict those people who were there. The people who had been there, the old people, some mad people, they couldn't get them out. Somehow they evicted, they made another place for them. Then ISKCON got control of that, Ultadanga Road. First Gaudiya Math. And then we got full access, it's in ISKCON's name, and we completely renovated. just as it was in the time of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. You cannot believe that place. You go and it's amazing. It's like you're walking back 100 years. All the lights, everything, the way it was. There's all brickwork. So it's beautiful. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he came to Mayapur a few weeks ago to submerge the ashes of his mother in Ganga. And at that time he stayed in the Ultadanga Road. For 10 days he stayed in. His rooms are there. Now on the top you'll see the room of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his murti, we put his murti there. And most of the preaching of the Gaudiya Math was done when he was in that place. And then this temple, at some time later, this property was given, I'm not sure exactly, sometime in the 1920s. And this became headquarters of Gaudiya Math. But still, that Ultadanga Road, the preaching, and then another temple in Bagh Bazaar, Kolkata. Those two temples. So Prabhupada, he first went, our A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he first met Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Kolkata one evening on the rooftop of the Ultadanga Road Centre. And when you go there, you have to visit. If you have time before you leave, it's 1 hour from the airport. So you go a little early, you can go and visit that place and then go and take your flight. Ultadanga Road Junction. So one evening, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was there, and he would sit on the roof in the evening and just speak. And people would come and sit. He was sitting there speaking, and Prabhupada's friend, Narendra Malik, he wanted Prabhupada to go and meet this sadhu. Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON Srila Prabhupada, he was reluctant. He was reluctant. Because he grew up in Kolkata, and he'd seen so many saffron-clad sadhus, and they were not really sattvic lifestyle. They were like using the saffron robes for easy life. Easy life. Prabhupada said even he saw one man, he was living with his family, had a wife, and in the morning he would put on saffron and go out and beg, and then come home in the evening and put on his pants. So Prabhupada saw these things. So Prabhupada, when another sadhu, Prabhupada wasn't so interested. But Prabhupada already, he was doing Bhagavad Bhakti at home. His father was great Vaishnava, pure devotee, chanting on the japa, reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, worshipping the deity. Prabhupada also grew up worshipping the deity. But he wasn't so much interested in going and meeting gurus. He was already at home practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting and hearing and worshipping and taking prasad. His wife, they were offering bhoga to the deity. He was born in Vaishnava family. Prabhupada, when he was sick, he had typhoid. The doctor said, you have to give him chicken broth. Chicken broth. The British, they tried to spoil everything in India. At least we can say Prabhupada learned English. So that was something that the British did, which we're all able to take advantage of. But they tried to destroy everything. Everything traditional about Vedic culture. Everything, they tried to minimize all the culture, all of the values, Brahminical values, and Sri Dharma, and so many things they just tried to destroy. The British. Puranic wisdom. They called it, they invented the word mythology, myth. They called it Indian mythology. They destroyed the culture. And still we're suffering from that in India, in modern education. It's still affected by that. And previous to that, people had faith, the Puranic authority of the Puranas. They destroyed it. And Prabhupada actually was involved in Swarat movement. At that time, he was doing his worship at home, but he wasn't looking for guru, or he didn't know about spreading Krishna consciousness. That he didn't know. That he learns from his guru. So he was just at home doing he wasn't so inclined to go. He was a Gandhian. The intellectuals in Bengal at the time of Prabhupada's youth, they were in the Indian independence. And A.C. Bose, Acharya Chandra Bose, he was Bengali. He was a contemporary of Prabhupada. He was in Prabhupada's college, Scottish Church College. It's still there. And Prabhupada's picture is in the foyer and on their website. A.C. Chandra Bose, he was also in that Scottish Church College. And Prabhupada was the follower of Gandhi. Prabhupada was the follower of Gandhi. And he went, and he'd been for many years. He did, how serious was Prabhupada? He didn't take his degree. He didn't take his degree. So you could say he was a serious follower of Gandhi and the independence movement. And when he went, and I'll come back to that. So he goes in there, Narendra Malak, he's pulling. Okay, Prabhupada submitted. Okay, he goes up the stairs. You can walk up these stairs now. Experience what it was like. Prabhupada walks up the stairs, and then there's the courtyard. The courtyard is there now. You can see we've renovated. The asana of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is there. The place where they sat is there. You can sit there. So Narendra Malak and Prabhupada, they walked in. Because they were Vaishnavas, I was saying chicken broth. The British spoiled Indian culture. Chicken broth. And Prabhupada's father said, we cannot bring into the house. And Prabhupada comments, my father, his whole life, he never touched tea, eggs, meat, fish. His whole life, never touched. What to speak of chicken broth in the house? That's the sort of family Prabhupada was born in. So then the doctor, he said, I'll make and bring, and then they tried to put in Prabhupada's mouth, he threw it up. So then, they're Vaishnav boys, they're Vaishnav men. Prabhupada already was married and had a child at this time. Vaishnav men. So he had hair and everything. But I think in Dhoti, I'm not sure, I have to check that again. But anyway, they went and saw, they paid the obeisances to Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur because they were Vaishnav men. They knew he was a Vaishnav, sannyasi. They paid obeisances. Now before Prabhupada even could get up, Dandavat Pranam, and before he getting up, then Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he looks and says, you educated young men, preach Gaudavani in English language all over the world. And Prabhupada was shocked. Prabhupada was shocked. That how can the man be so bold to give me to say me to take over my life, and just we met, and already he's saying I have to give my life for. How can the man be so bold? Prabhupada was taken aback, and Prabhupada's thinking, and then Prabhupada immediately he's thinking, what about independence? Prabhupada didn't take his degree. He was a serious follower of Gandhi. And Prabhupada, he was a little afraid, of course, such a powerful sadhu. You're sitting with straight back, the many brahmacharis been listening and he's speaking. But Prabhupada also experienced man, manager, Prabhupada, college educated, English. And then Prabhupada challenges her. Who will listen to our message? We are a dependent country. We are a dependent country. Who will listen to our message? And then Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he smashed Prabhupada's concept. For many years, Prabhupada, serious follower of Gandhi, a few moments with Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, forget it. He gave it up. He gave it up. This is not the way. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, such powerful association. Labhamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Is there a better example? In a moment, what he did, Prabhupada, he ordered, and Prabhupada, that moment was so serious. Prabhupada accepted that one moment so seriously. He gave his life for that one order, with that one moment. That's Labhamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. In a moment, Labhamatra, it's that one moment, Sadhu Sangha, associating with Sarva Siddhi Hoy, all perfection can be achieved. And Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was so powerful. But we can understand that he says that immediately, seeing the men. What does that mean? That means that he's always thinking about it. And any opportunity to express his desire that Krishna consciousness is spread in English language all over the world. He's always desiring that, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now his father, he began the preaching in English. In 1896, Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he wrote the book, Life and Precepts of Sri Chaitanya, in English, and sent that. That's the first English preaching. The first time that the Gold Avatar, and Doyamoy Putit Bhavan, who came to deliver the world, the first time that became known to the English world, to the modern world. Up to that, it was only known in Bengal and a little bit in Vrindavan and Odisha. And Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he sent the book to Canada. And then in 1896, many years later, 80 years later, ISKCON devotees in Canada, they found that book in the library. Canada. Prabhupada says that book was sent in 1896. And Prabhupada says, the year of my birth. And Prabhupada says, many say that this is not a coincidence. So Prabhupada's there, and then that first meeting with Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Then Prabhupada changed everything. He gave up all the Gandhi faith and the politics, and he developed a relationship. And from that, and Prabhupada said, from that time I accepted him as my guru. And then some interaction, Prabhupada, we're assuming that he had the books, he took the books. Because Prabhupada went to Allahabad. At that time it was called Allahabad, now it's called Prayagraj, BJP government. Prayagraj, they're building a gut, Prabhupada gut, BJP government building Prabhupada gut. Prayagraj. And then it mentions that Prabhupada had a second daughter, a second child, a daughter. First child was a son, a second child in Prayag. And mentions that Prabhupada, he taught that second daughter, he taught her the Bengali translation to Sri Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's Gurvastikam, which we sing, Samshara Davon Adalidalo, as Sanskrit, by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. So Prabhupada taught his daughter, her name was, I can't remember, Lakshmi or Saraswati, Prabhupada's daughter, I can't remember her name. So he taught her the Bengali version, the Bengali translation. So how did Prabhupada know these things? He's already reading the books of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, even in Prayag. Must have been. And then the preachers of Prayag, the preachers from Kolkata, disciples of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, went to Prayag to investigate opening a temple. And then they happened to meet Abhay Babu, who is a chemist, who was their pharmaceutical business, Bengali. And he was already Vaishnav, and he was very, your disciples of Saraswati Thakur. He immediately developed relationship with them, and he began assisting them in establishing the Rupa Gaudiya Math in Prayag. And then Prabhupada heard that Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was going to visit Vrindavan for parikrama. Prabhupada was busy with his business, but he would travel here and there, Mumbai and Lucknow and Kolkata. And so he heard that Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was doing a major parikrama with 1,000 disciples in Vrindavan. This is in 1932. And so Prabhupada, he was able to arrange that he could just visit for one day. When the party was at a place called Koshi, where Nanda Maharaj had his treasury. And Prabhupada took the train from Prayag to Mathura, and then a rickshaw to that Koshi place, and he saw the camp. They'd never seen such a thing in Vrindavan. Many people were gathered to see the huge caravan of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his tent in the middle with the deities. See, this is his worshipable deities, Gandhara Giridhari. Deities there in the Parikrama, the temple, and then it's quarters of Sanatana Saraswati Thakur. And around his tent were the tents of sannyasis. He initiated 18 sannyasis. Around that was the area where the Grihastha disciples in the tents, the men in one area, the ladies in another area. And Prabhupada saw, he went to the registration, he registered, they gave him a tent, and Prabhupada with some other Grihastha men. And then one sannyasi announced that this evening we're going on the parikrama to the Vishnu temple, and everyone's invited, we'll take darshan. And also, it's the last evening that Shri Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, is with us. Tomorrow he'll be leaving for preaching, and he's giving class tonight. He'll be giving class, and anyone who wants to stay and hear. And Prabhupada was thinking, oh, I'm here one night. I've come to see Saraswati Thakur. What will be the use of, what will I get if I go and see? So I will stay. So Prabhupada said he went to the tent. Saraswati Thakur already had begun speaking. He was sitting. He's straight back, he was speaking, he's quoting from Shastras, from Bhagavatam, from Vedas, from Upanishads, from Gita, sometimes speaking in Bangla, sometimes speaking in English. Is he speaking? And Prabhupada's listening. There weren't many people there. Some of the leading mott organizers with the responsibility in areas and in the printing areas, and temple presidents, sannyasis, and Sanatana Saraswati Thakur was speaking. And Prabhupada was saying that as he was hearing that class, the first time he met, it was Prabhupada, it was surprise. Prabhupada, he was taken there by, he wasn't really prepared. But still it had such an effect on him. But this time, Prabhupada actually, as our Rupa Goswami writes in the Upadeshamrita, that Susrusha Shadana, that Bhajana Susrusha Bhajana Bhigyan Ananda Ninda Shunya Ipshita Shangalabdha. Nindadi Shunya, that Bhajana Bhigyan Ananda Ninda Shunya Ridim, those who are Bhajana Bhigyan Ananda, which means they're advanced in unalloyed devotion, Bhajana Bhigyan Ananda. Shunya Nindadi Shunya Ridim, their heart is free of propensity to criticize others. Ipshita Shangalabdha. Shangalabdha, to associate with them, Ipshita, you should desire. You should desire to associate with advanced Vaishnavas. You should desire and seek that. So in this case, Prabhupada was actually going there just to associate. So he was very desirous. And in that mood, he went and then he was taking this. So Prabhupada explaining that one lecture had such an effect on him. It said that it's like he got all realization hearing that one lecture. It's not like us. We can hear Guru Maharaj lecture every day and still we're in Maya. And Prabhupada was 12 years before, 11 years before, they had one meeting, and then they had the books, and now second meeting. and it is like having such an effect on Prabhupada. He's saying these are fully realized. And after that, there's no more classes. A few occasions they meet. It's so powerful. You know, a brief association had such an effect. There's such special Vaishnavas. That's such transmission of spiritual potency in such a short time, because it's just how often they can come together and meet. But it's so important for the universe. Their meeting and their transferal of spiritual potency at that moment. And Prabhupada went to Vrindavan for that. And he said he sat for hours. And he said gradually sannyasis were dismissing themselves, various duties, and there's a few people left. Late in the night, and Prabhupada had been sitting. Then Sanatana Saraswati Thakur, he excused himself and left. So then the next morning, early, Sanatana Saraswati Thakur is in his sannyas cloth, fresh, comes out of the tent, sits in the car, drives, turns back, waves. Prabhupada was standing there also with the disciples. Then Prabhupada went back to Prayag for his business. And then he heard again from the mott, Brahmachari came. His name was Otulananda Das. Otulananda Das Brahmachari, President, Sri Rupa Gaudiya Mott. He said, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is planning a visit to Prayag. And Prabhupada, what? Prabhupada was thinking that my Guru, he's entering more deeply into my life. We had that meeting in Vrindavan, Prabhupada heard, and now he's coming to Prayag. There'll be opening of the temple, Rupa Gaudiya Math. And Otulananda Das Brahmachari said that day, also there will be initiation. And Prabhupada was, as the day was approaching, and Prabhupada was doing service. They were taking the sannyasis, collecting funds, organizing the opening of the temple. He discussed with his wife the possibility of taking sannyas. Oh, sorry, what was I saying? Of taking initiation. Taking initiation. You discussed taking initiation. His wife was, she was not opposed to him doing it, but she herself was not interested in taking initiation. So Prabhupada, he went on the day. His wife wasn't accompanying him, but I think his brother was Prabhupada's brother, or younger brother, there. So then, they're in the room in the morning. Siddhanta Thakur was there. The guests are coming, dignitaries of Prabhupada. Prabhupada had come early. Otulananda, he stands up. He's going to introduce a few devotees for the initiation. Initiation. We have quite a system here in ISKCON, but in that time it was just the moment at that time in introducing, and that's it. You're accepted. So Otulananda, he says that Abhay Babu is interested. He's been helping us in opening the center and developing. Abhay Babu, in Kolkata, Abhay Babu. He's interested in taking initiation. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he looks and says, yes. I have marked him. He likes to hear. He does not go away. Yes, I will accept him. Of course, when Prabhupada heard that, said it was like the greatest joy of his life, that his Guru had appreciated his quality of that he liked to hear. He's remembering just from that one evening, several months before in Vrindavan, and that he marked him. I marked him. He sat in. That was the awareness of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. One meeting, but he remembered. And Prabhupada said that special on the initiation, he was given the name Abhay Charan. His name was Abhay Charan Day. Abhay Charan Day. He was initiated Abhay Charan Aurobindo Das. Abhay Charan Aurobindo Das. And Prabhupada's full name is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti, His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Aurobindo Bhakti Vedanta Swami. Abhay Charan Aurobindo Bhakti Vedanta Swami. Prabhupada. So Abhay Charan Aurobindo Das. And he was given, which was something that they'd never seen before in the Gaudiya Math. He was given the beads, the name, and the second initiation Gayatri Mantra on the same level of the thing. So immediately Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur left, and immediately Prabhupada was already preaching in the Rupa Gaudiya Math, giving classes, and he's a fully qualified disciple, and they're going to puja, arati, everything, and with the brahmacharis and sannyasis, and he was helping them develop. And Prabhupada said that, he says that after that, there was perhaps, he met with his Guru perhaps 12 times. When Prabhupada would come to, where he would hear from the mott in Prayag that Guru Maharaj is in Kolkata. So Prabhupada would come for a business trip to Kolkata and see some of his relatives. His family was in Prayag, his wife and sons, but his brothers and others in Kolkata, you'd see them. He would stay in the Bagh Bazaar temple, Kolkata. The temple president would come to the Howrah station when Prabhupada would get down from the train and pick him up in a horse and carriage in the 1930s and take him to Bagh Bazaar. It's still there in Kolkata, you can visit Gaudiya Math headquarters. And Prabhupada would also come to Mayapur on occasion when Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was here. So after the preaching at so many places, printing presses in Madras and in Delhi, so many Gaudiya Math, Allahabad, was that near Puri? Puri, we went to Puri, and then when Mahaprabhu laid down, Alalanat, you remember Alalanat? Gaudiya Math, opened by Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his room was there in Alalanat, so all over India. And he came and he got this property here. All of this land was Muslim farmers, the whole area here. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he saw the lights, he came, they opened the temple, a jog pit, but the whole area were Muslim farmers. So Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, by his association, he acquired land here. Large property, this is a huge property. The Radha Kund, Sham Kund, a huge property. And all the land behind also is Chaitanya Math, this huge land. It was given at that time, sold. So then he set up headquarters here. And then after some time, he also developed the Yoga Pit. So from that small temple, which is now the office, then he built the main temple now, what you see, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Originally only the Radha, it's Gaur-Narayan and Loki Devi. It's Vishnu Priya, Loki Devi and Gauranga. Gaur-Narayan is the central deity. And then Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur installed the other deities, Panchatattva, Radha, Madhav, and built the whole temple, and with the sannyasi's rooms and everything. And also he stayed in this building here. And Prabhupada said that he would come to here and stay here and associate with Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur on several occasions. And Prabhupada said that on one occasion, he saw a snake somewhere over here. This is an occasion where Prabhupada said that he had a doubt. Prabhupada said he had a doubt in regarding his spiritual master. So it's not Maya. You're not a demon if you have a doubt in regard to the relationship with the spiritual master. As Prabhupada said, he had a doubt when he saw that his guru, there's a snake in the court in the garden, and Prabhupada, he called out to his godbrothers, "There's a snake," and they just came and stood there. And then Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he came out on the balcony, and he said immediately, "Kill it!" He ordered, "Kill it!" So someone took a stick, they killed the snake. So Prabhupada was puzzled. You know, aren't we meant to udasin, upekka, niropekka. Niropekka is Hindi, that's a word, niropekka? Neutral? No? Niropekka, Bangla. Udasin, niropekka, it was meant to be neutral. Why he went out of his way to kill the snake. So Prabhupada was puzzled. And Prabhupada explained later, he read in the Bhagavatam how the verse explained that how a saintly person is joyed when the snake is killed, because they're elevated from the body elevated to the next. So then Prabhupada said, then he could understand. So that doubt was cleared, but it was confused, and then that incident happened to him. And Prabhupada said that he had intimate association with his Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and that sometimes the other godbrothers they were upset by that. But Prabhupada would just go into the room, and he would sometimes sit and chant with Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and others they would chastise Prabhupada for that. And he said that there were Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur on occasion, he spoke confidentially with Prabhupada here, and different in that way. And then of course later there's the other significant meeting in Radha Kund, when Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if you ever get money, print books. If you ever get money, print books. Print books means distribute the books. They're not just printing and kept in the go down. And he would listen to the printing press. They called it the Brihat Madanga. This is the mood of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This is the mood. Through book distribution, because that was the time also. The intellectuals, English, and the languages. India was becoming educated nation. Books, book distribution. This is the preaching of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Brihat Madanga. Brihat Madanga. Book distribution and publication. And Prabhupada was also contributing. And Prabhupada wrote for the magazine, submitted Sajjana Toshani, submitted an article. When Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur looked at it, he said, anything, Abhay Prabhu, anything he writes, you publish it. And then he wrote in 1935 at Vyasa Puja, Prabhupada, in Mumbai, with his God, he was, by that time he'd moved to Mumbai for business. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was celebrating Vyasa Puja in Puri. Prabhupada stood in front of his godbrothers, he read the poem in English. He wrote a poem in English for his Vyasa Puja homage to his Guru. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved, impersonal calamity, thou hast moved. When the poem reached Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was very pleased. And particularly that paragraph, he appreciated, and he read out to the guests who were assembled, listen to what the disciple Abba has written. He said, he has understood my mood. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved, impersonal calamity, thou hast moved. That's English poetry, Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada, this is shortly before his departure. And then a letter he received. What can I do, Prabhupada wrote, what can I do? Your other god brothers, they're all sannyasis, they're preaching, what can I do? And Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that I feel that you can become an expert English preacher. And this I order you. Preach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings in English language. And he empowered Prabhupada. So today we are here in the association of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Here is his Samadhi Mandir. He is here present. The acharyas are fully present in their Samadhi Mandir. This Samadhi on the 1st of January 1937. 1st of January 1937. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gave up his body in Kolkata in the morning, 1st of January. At that time, all of the clocks in the temple stopped. I don't know now if they're all stopped at that time. And so then they arranged a special train from Shelda. Yeah, we're finishing, 2 minutes. A special train from Shelda. And they brought the body of Saraswati Thakur here to Krishna Nagar, and then this is 1930, in a cart to Jalangi, and they brought along the road here, and they made the Samadhi here, and he's resting here, and the devotees from all over the world are coming and taking his blessings as we have done today. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki. His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj ki. ISKCON Pratishthata Acharya Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Shamabeta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Sisilita Gaur Shitanath Brahmanandi Hodi Hodi Ho.